What's up, guys? This is Cam Bam. I'm here with my true Draco list. I thought y'all would like to see. It's something a little different, a little bit more budget friendly for most people, and a little spicy, I would say. And honestly, for this particular format, this is not a bad pick in my opinion. It is a little slower, of course, but let's just get right into it. So for the monsters, I played 3 of the Majesties. Sorry for the glare. 3 Ignis Heat and 2 Dynamites. I played no more monsters in the deck. Some people opt to play Wado. I've seen my friend out of town. He would play like hand traps or some sort. I just find not seeing monsters in my, like, I guess my following hands, because like these guys can brick you just as bad as a hand trap can. So I felt like this was the right ratio. And that was just for the monsters. Now for the spells, I played a little differently than most people. Just hear me out when I say this. So I played 3 Draco back, or not Draco back. Sorry, you play against the Adventure a little too many times. 3 disciples and 2 heritage. Sorry. So people opt to play this at 3 and this at 3. I find this one to be more bricky than this one, because this one you can shuffle back your stuff to draw 1, whereas this one you just want to resolve it at least once. You can draw 3, 2, or 1 depending on the situation. And I just find it like it's good, but it can brick. I just don't like bricking in this deck. That's where I found like the ratios, I guess, for this. Then for the 1-0s, it was 1 card of Demise and 1's Harpy's Feather Duster, and also 1 Pot of Desires. These are the 1-0 spells with the inclusion of Terraforming. So these are good generic cards to this deck. This card's insane in this deck, of course. You're not drawing a bunch of monsters usually. Harpies is great. Pot of Desires is great. Terraforming, if it was at 3, I'd be playing it. And then for my draw 3 of, I definitely played 3 Pot of Duality. This card's just good, generically good in this deck. 1 Diagram. That's a searcher. You can pop your stuff out certain parts of the board. Also, it's a bait. You can have like combo in hand, and you're like, I'm gonna try to search off a diagram. And usually, this card's just nuts when you see it. And then for the spiciness, now this is where I believe this should be correct. You should probably definitely be playing Domain of the Monarchs in the main deck. Just hear me out. If you go first, you see this, like any continuous card and 1 monster, and your opponent does not have backward removal, which is most of the time the situation. This card's a blowout. Sprite can't deal with it. Tear Elements can't deal with it. It's just a card, like, it just shuts you off from the extra deck, which is very, very, a very prominent thing right now. Like going first, this card is nuts. Going second, it's not as great. So I would say if you're gonna cut something, cut 1 of them, maybe both of them. Just play the diagram. But yeah, those are the spells. For the traps, of course, there's gonna be a lot more traps. I should have had these in in order. But 2 Solemn Judgment. 2, there only could be 1. 2 Erupt. This card's insane. It's just skill drain. I like this over skill drain for the fact that like you can still play with your monsters and your opponent can't. I would have had these included with the judgments with 3 strikes. This card is just insane. Just having follow up, because like if your opponent has the out to your, like, let's say they wanted to out your domain with a monster effect, and you just strike that, and they basically just pass. And then I played 1 Gozen Match and 1 Rivalry. These cards are just, I mean, this card's insane in this format. Everybody knows that right now. Goes in again. That's just another good staple card. And then I played 3-dimensional barrier in the main. This is because my deck, it's not like a combo deck, where like you have to be playing this in the side if you, depending on your matchup. Like this is good in any of my matchups, like Sprite or Sprite. You just call X, Y, Z. Yeah, they can make Elf, but that's it. And then Terra Elements, you call Fusion, and they just turn off their whole turn. Now, don't forget that Terra Elements, yeah, you can debarrier them, but they can go to your turn, and like if they have the hand trap one, they can probably pop off a little bit, but this card's still good. And then for my traps, now this is where it gets a little different for the last bit of traps. So, of course, you played 3 Apocalypse, but I only played the 1 Return. Now, this card is at 3. However, you draw more of these than any of your like power spells, you lose the game, honestly. So I feel like this at 1 and these at 3 for sure. This is the better one in terms of like sending anything for cost to cut your monsters, your opponent's monsters in half. Like it's just so good. And that was for the main deck there. Now for the side's a little different. I actually opt to play like going second cards. Like these are probably not these are like subpar, but 2 Imperm, 2 Twin Twister. Just for going second. You can go second in this deck. 2 Nib, 2 Lancia, 2 Spear Mode, and 2 DD Crows. These cards are like, this is for flow. You can play against flow, it's not an issue. It's more for like, I guess like the banishing part, or Gizmek Orochi. Like if they send Orochi, you can Lancia them and they can't use it. This is for Rogue. It's good, but it's not good against Sprite, so that's why I side deck it. If I do play against like some Rogue decks or even a Terra Element that like overextends, I would probably play Nibs. Spear Modes is for mostly anything that can build a board, because you don't have to normal summon on your turn. You can just summon the Spear Modes, set the traps, have the monster in your hand, and then pop off on their turn. And then 2 Crow, this is for both Sprite, Terra Element, and basically any deck that has like a graveyard efficient effect where you can Crow it. And I do see these quite often when I do play on, which is crazy because you're playing like True Draco and you don't necessarily see these cards coming. And then for the last 3 of, this card gets a little bit of hate, but it's 3 Anti-Spell. This card's insane. You can main deck it, but I opt to play it in the side, because if you are forced to go second, you can just side this in going first next game if you lose. And it's a blowout of some sort. Like, I think this probably will not get banned, but maybe hit to a certain extent, because this card can be a blowout, especially in a deck like this where I can set your stuff, then get rid of it, and then you have to reset everything again. So to me, that's just insane. But yeah, this is my deck profile for Draco. I hope you like it. It is very, very spicy. Just remember, like, this deck is not like tier 0, you know what I'm saying? It's not like the best deck ever, but the Domain of the Monarchs is like, oh man, like this card's insane, man. Like it just does so much for you. Like this card in True Draco should have been played a long time ago, just because like if you activate this and your opponent's playing extra deck, they just auto lose to you. But that's gonna be it for my deck profile. I hope you enjoy.